Welcome back to Let's Not Sugarcoat It. Season 3 is here and we're excited to dive into the core of communication, relationships, and leadership.
We're your hosts, Bella and Lee, a husband and wife duo with a successful business helping couples and organizations get it together to play a bigger game and elevate their relationships and performance.
We believe in keeping it real, so each week we'll bring you incredible guests, entrepreneurs sharing their authentic experiences, along with episodes featuring just the two of us tackling the tough topics.
So, if you're ready to enhance your connections and sharpen your leadership skills, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Let's Not Sugarcoat It. It has been a minute since... Long overdue. And we are so excited to have our amazing friends, Katharina and David Kunz. I say it with my Polish accent. Yeah. German.
It's nice. Yes, I think I'll adopt that. That'll be the way we say it from now on.
In the house. And we are going to be talking all things mushrooms, functional mushrooms, psilocybin. We're going to talk about the company that you started, the company you're working for, David, and how mushrooms benefit the body, benefit the mind, and what it has done for your relationship as a couple, because you guys are working together, and what it actually has done for me, anyways, us.
For us as a byproduct.
As a byproduct. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. This is very exciting.
Yes, I was so afraid of mushrooms, because the control piece for me. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago where we had that breakdown in our relationship and I was ready. I literally died, had no heartbeat. And I was like, give it to me, baby. And I trusted. And it was the most profound experience of my life. It has changed not only how I show up for myself, but how I show up in the world and how I show up in our relationship.
Yeah, so maybe we should let the two of you talk to maybe what we're talking about in the context of mushrooms. This way people don't think that Bella had this profound experience with cremini mushrooms, right? Because I think there could be people out there that just don't necessarily know exactly what we're talking about on one end. And then on the other extreme side of that, there's, I think there's this view of mushrooms just being a drug on the bad side. And so that's what let's kind of provide the context.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you mind if I start off with just a little bit of a caveat first? Since this is the most important with our company that is, we're one of the largest growers of functional mushrooms, which are, for the absolute record, non-psilocybin. There's a wide variety of mushrooms that are functional and beneficial, and they've been used for literally eons, particularly in traditional Chinese medicine. And they would involve, say, maitake, shiitake, chaga, reishi, Cordyceps militaris, sinensis, turkey tail, huge, amazing for cancer research and so forth. But anyways, what I'm getting, they've all got natural symbiotics with our body. The ones that people are hearing more about now and have always been, I guess there's a fear factor around it, is psilocybin. The caveat that I must say is that we have no connection whatsoever with psilocybin at this time, considering that it is still considered a banned substance and an illegal substance. Although I know just recently, and you can fact check me on this, but the FDA is fast tracking actually studies on psilocybin with regards to post traumatic stress, with regards to particularly with veterans and mental health and mental disorders. And it's amazing the benefits. There are studies at University of Saskatchewan right now with psilocybin and lion's mane, particularly with promoting neurogenesis, that's regeneration of neurons. We won't get into all those details right now. We'll get into it later, but I just have to say that for absolute clarity, the company that I am with, and we'll probably say the name later, is for all intents and purposes, we do not produce psilocybin. We are not affiliated with anybody who produces psilocybin, and I have to say that as an absolute caveat. Although I recognize the benefits therein with it, just so you know, I'm all above board. We sell what is currently legal, and anything that's outside of the realm is outside of the realm. So back to you, Katharina.
Yes.
Mushrooms. It's so interesting. I've been doing some markets lately. I launched my functional mushroom business a year ago, and the creative process of that and developing these blends where I'm mixing mushrooms together with other botanicals, other herbs that really are for a specific purpose, whether that is hormone support, whether that is a little bit more in the feminine or masculine hormone support, libido, inner radiance and glow, metabolism, blood sugar. There's so many things that mushrooms support. They really, really are amazing. And they're different than supplements because they're living, they're alive. And not only that, they've been around, they've been here before we've been here. Yeah. They are like the first, whether they came down from the cosmos, I don't know. But they are so magical, and they really are the way that nature communicates. The mycelium beneath the ground. So as you're walking, there's this whole bed of intelligence. And this is how trees communicate. This is how nature communicates. They are the great recyclers of nature. They are the great communicators of nature. And we're nature. And so this is why I started Liquid Aura. And I have been working with mushrooms for 15 years. My background is in fitness and in comprehensive health coaching, and it's been my life. And so I've been making these elixirs and you can use mushrooms in different ways. So it could be the actual mushroom where you're making a concoction, like a tea concoction, or yes, some of them are still culinary, like shiitake and maitake and lion's mane. And these are ones that you can cook with. Some of them are a little bit harder, like chaga and reishi. They're more like a stiffer mushroom.
There's something you would generally steep to try to get the bioactives out of.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I loved working with the full spectrum mushroom. And this is the mushrooms that I'm getting supplied from David's company. And it's one of the best parts about it is that it is local, it's Canadian, it's organic. I know exactly where it's coming from. I know exactly what is in it. And the challenge that I'm finding with like anything, like any supplement, is what's actually in it. And a lot of the supplements are coming from China, or a lot of the mushrooms are coming from China. And
90% of the industry is supplied by China right now. People don't realize it, whether, there'd be Canadian companies saying they're grown here. No, they're coming from China. And it's interesting that if you actually do like HPLC, some scientific rigor, and analyze the compounds that are supposed to be in the mushrooms that are being sold, in many cases is non-detect. Like there's, that's saying I won't get into all of the different names because it'll just cause people to gloss over, but it's pretty phenomenal that the quality of what comes over is there can be a COA, a certificate of authenticity that says it has all of these compounds and all of these elements in it. And the paper says this, but if you actually test it, it's really not in there. And just a little note, you mentioned on full spectrum, and just for people who may not, and generally people won't understand what that means, is when people think of a mushroom, they think of the thing that pops up out of the ground and you can pick it and you can eat it. And then there's called mycophobia, the people who are afraid of mushrooms, because you pick a mushroom, you could die if you don't know what the mushroom is. But if you pick a berry, the red berry over there, you could die from that too. So know your berries, know your mushrooms. But the notion of the full spectrum is that the mushroom that people think of, it's the fruit. It's the thing that pops up. And generally, when the mushroom has run out of its food source and says, "Oh no, I need to propagate," so it pops this thing up, spreads a bunch of spores. Spores go out, and then it reproduces. The thing that's very interesting is that people don't realize is that the bulk of the mushroom is actually, it's underground. It's in the woods. It's in the compost. It's in the manure. Mushrooms are recyclers. What they do is they excrete acid at the end, and they break things down to the molecular level. And they break it into ways that nature can reabsorb it. Basically, it's the exact same thing our stomach is doing. Why do you think we've got hydrochloric acid in there? There's 3 kingdoms on the planet. There's fungi. They were here first. Plants evolved from fungi. They started to capture this energy from the sun, make sugars. The fungi basically made all the substrate that plants can grow in. And then animals came along and they started to carry that digestive system around in a sack. And then they started to eat the things that were making the sugar from the sun, i.e. the plants, or they were eating the mushrooms themselves. But the gist is that when people think of chaga, it grows on a tree, a birch tree in particular, but you're only getting, the fruit or the thing that's generally transient. A mushroom will pop up overnight oftentimes and send out spores. And there's nutrients in that, but just like a carrot, if you take the green carrot top and you can eat the green carrot top, there's nutrients in that. But the bulk of the nutrients are in that orange carrot thing that's in the ground.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about mushrooms, is that the real mushroom is what's growing into its food source and recycling everything that, when something, say a tree falls down, well, how do you think that tree turns into soil? It's the mushroom that breaks it all down at the molecular level and turns into something that other things can make use of. So what we do in the full spectrum method is we grow it on a superfood kind of grain and other, additives that we put in it, but it's all organic, vegan, the whole 9 yards.
Non-gluten.
Non-gluten, yeah. We've got all those. We basically, if there's a certification, we've got it. And the gist is we're able to grow it in something that we're actually able to eat ourselves. Like if you were to take cereal and eat the cereal, well, we're basically feeding her mushroom cereal. And then when the mushrooms have fully digested it, and we've got, I won't get into all the details, we'll follow that later. But the gist is it fully converts it into something that is now mushroom, unlike what it was before. But then you get all the digestive enzymes, you get all of the this is to say, if it's growing into a tree or into a garden, into a compost, well, there's all of these things that are trying to attack that mushroom. Well, it has to fend it off. It's got an immune system. And all those immune system, or those immune,
modulators,
basically all of the little bits that would be in the thing that you can't eat because you're only eating the mushroom part that's off the top, you get to take the whole thing. And that's what Katharine's going to touch on. I just wanted to express on what the full spectrum part is, because we say it quite commonly because it's what we do all the time, but people don't really understand the difference between a mushroom fruit and the actual mushroom itself, which is the whole organism.
Yeah. So, and David has an engineer mind, so I love the way that you express things because you hear it and feel it and see it and speak from that space. So it's so nice.
And it's funny because it's like we forgot how nature is a healer. Because we're so pumped full of antibiotics, all the pharma stuff, right? The vaccines, the stuff. We've forgotten that actually there's so much healing that comes from Mother Nature, but we're not taught that.
Yes.
Why? The question is why?
Because you're a witch.
Right?
You should be burned at the stake.
That's right. Right? I feel like we're coming back a little bit to that consciousness, to the Mother Nature, to the healing part, that we are all one.
Yes.
Not these chemicals. And I have nothing against Western medicine because we definitely need. However, we do not need all of it.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah, and we can
all the time.
We can start with nature. We can come back to nature. We can come back to our own innate nature.
There's an interesting point you say about that, how it does work with Western medicine. There's an interesting TED Talk on a podcast, or TED Talk by Paul Stamets. He's basically the mushroom guy and the guru. And his mother, 84 years old, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, breast and otherwise, massive tumors. She was basically told to get everything in order, and that there's nothing they could do with her at her age, and just in the stage that she was at. And her oncologist said, kind of off on a whim, said, we're off. Just there's this thing that I've heard about. It's a study. They're using these mushrooms, or they're turkey tail mushrooms, and it's supposed to be really good. And she looked at it and she says, my son supplies those. So I get emotional when I talk about this, but it's amazing that, while there are many anecdotal stories and instances of the benefits of turkey tail, and we both know a naturopath who helps people with cancer, has made quite a name for himself, predominantly working with turkey tail and other functional mushrooms to actually reverse and eradicate cancer. We can't make those claims. But the story that I'm talking about with Paul and his mom is that what they have been able to determine, and I'm not sure if the paper's been released or not, but the essence is the turkey tail may or may not have a direct effect with the cancer itself, but what it does do is it opens the receptors in the cells, which makes it more bioavailable for the Western medicine chemicals and chemotherapy to actually bind to the cells that need it, as opposed to killing the whole organism, i.e. his mom, with these crazy chemicals. They're able to reduce the volume of the chemotherapies, make it more effective. And I believe it was within the year, cancer-free, and she's still going. Yeah. And that was, I think, the first time I saw that TED Talk. Might have been, was it 10 or 12? Might even be, it's been over a decade. So it's amazing how the combination between Western medicine and the naturals, there is an overlap. Yes. We're just not.
We're not utilizing it because big pharma is pushing just their own things.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody is, wants certainty and predictability, and that's something that Western medicine is good at being able to say it does, right? Even when it doesn't, right? It's got a good way to be able to say we've got this data, and so natural ways of healing and stuff, even though it's been around longer, has lacked that kind of data telling story up until more recently because of technology being able to really test this stuff. Right?
But also, there's no money in healing yourself, right? Like you cannot patent the dandelions that they're telling us to kill
for our liver.
Right
but now they're ready for us to consume because they're a spring food. They clear our liver after the heavy food of the winter.
Yeah.
Right? Nature is always telling us what we need.
Exactly. But we've been told that it's a weed, kill it, right? You eat the root, the leaves and the heads, right?
Right.
I've done a bunch of research on that as well. I'm like, man, I have my kids running around going, pick my dandelions or having tea,
if they're not sprayed, then go for it.
It's backyard.
Yeah, the irony in that is that they want you to spray it with Roundup, which is made by Monsanto, which was recently bought by Bayer. And Bayer, last time I heard, made a big name by making aspirin and all of these other pharmaceuticals. So, you're supposed to
follow the money
kill these
trail.
weeds with Roundup, which was Agent Orange, and incidentally is what's used on grain so that they can process it quicker because it's easier to thrash a dead grain than it is a living grain. So that's why if you see a green field of hay and then you see a brown one right next to it, they sprayed it with Roundup.
Yeah.
Killed it, makes it easy, and then it goes right into your bread.
Yeah. Exactly. And so what you were talking about earlier around what's underneath the surface is called mycelium. And mycelium is the intelligence of the mushroom. And so what I'm so excited about and why Liquid Aura is really about bringing mushrooms to people's world to support their health. And each mushroom has its own superpower. And so I'm working with 8 different mushrooms. I blend specific ones together with other botanicals to create these elixir powders, but I also sell the powders on their own because and also an 8 blend if people just want all of them together. And because of the superpowers that they have, and they are a kingdom of their own, but their DNA is more similar to an animal than a plant. So that right there, when I say that to people, there's just this, tell me more. That is so fascinating. And so because of that, they really are our allies in health. And they are not like other supplements in that many of them are adaptogens. And what an adaptogen is that it works in your body differently. Like how reishi creates calm in your body is different for me, because what needs to happen in your body to create that calm is different than what needs to happen in my body. So it works with your systems. It doesn't override your systems. Like cordyceps mushroom, for example, is really good for energy and stamina. And it's really great for the lungs. So if you have lung challenges and you are struggling with some lung issues, it will help that, but it will also help athletes to have greater lung capacity, right? So fascinating. And the cordyceps mushroom that you're creating is 2 different kinds of the militaris, but there's one that just won the Cordyceps last year. And the Cordyceps is something that David can speak to in Sweden.
I'm going to first mention something that I really appreciate the way you explain adaptogens, because you hear these things, adaptogens, and you're like, what is an adaptogen? But the way that you've said it and it really nailed for me in the past is that they adapt to each individual the way that you need it. So that's the part of the adaptogenic process, which is pretty cool. But back to the cordyceps. Yeah, cordyceps is a really interesting mushroom. It got called the gold medal mushroom. Remember in 1993, it was the Olympics in China. And they cleaned house in all of the track and field and long distance events, and everybody thought that they were blood doping, that there was they were accused of everything, steroids, the whole nine yards, but they all tested clean. And it was after some rigorous digging, so to speak, and study, that basically what it came down to was that they had their trainer was giving them traditional Chinese medicine in an elixir. It was a mixture of all these different concoctions of natural compounds, but one of them was Cordyceps sinensis. And there's different species of cordyceps. I won't get into the details of that, but the one that's the most potent is Cordyceps militaris. And Cordyceps militaris, what's in it is cordycepin. Cordycepin is the bioactive compound. Cordycepin is directly related with adenosine. Adenosine is a precursor to ATP. ATP, if people who are active know, that's what really fuels the energy system of your cells, the mitochondria. So between all of that, what it's been demonstrated to prove is, or demonstrate to do, is to increase your lung capacity, your oxygen carrying capacity, and then the ability to oxidize, which is the little reaction which is happening inside your cells when it's splitting and when it's basically splitting it. You've got a fission reactor inside each one of your cells, and it's splitting the atoms, and that's what those little electrical pulses is what fuels you. So what Katharina was alluding to is that our Cordyceps militaris, we call it Cordyfuel. We just won an international competition in Sweden where they had, it was 40 or 50 egghead kind of sciencey, nerdy mycologists all around the world. I think that they grow the most amazing cordyceps, and they submitted it to this competition. And they did a whole series as a rigorous test of like 6 different HPLC, so high performance liquid chromatography tests that allow them to isolate this particular compound. And the average across the board of all of these, people who think they grow the most amazing stuff in the world was 5 milligrams per gram. That doesn't mean much. That basically means there's about 0.5% of cordycepin per gram of what they produced. Well, ours came in at 15. So wow. we were 300% higher than that. So we were 1.5%, and which is unheard of. And actually, the only closest entrant was a 10-to-1 extract. So if you 10-to-1 extract ours, we're at 150. So back to you, Katharina. Yeah, we're all about the science where we're at, and our mycology team is unbelievable. Andrew, we call him the mushroom whisperer. His ability to coax and sort of recognize the growth habit of the mushroom in the little petri dishes, and even just with the smell, like it's unreal how he's been able to really select the most amazing strains right across the board. Like he's doing things with chaga right now. We're gonna defunct a couple scientific white papers that say that the way that we grow mushrooms, you can't get these betulinic acids, the things that come from birch trees. I won't get into the details. So that's something that people look for when they're taking a chaga. Well, it's funny because in their study they said, well, we've got this amount of these compounds, and you can't get that the way they grow full spectrum. Well, our numbers were 400% higher than theirs. Yeah. And they said they don't exist. So back to you. Yeah.
Well, and I think that it's important to really stop and share the value of these full spectrum mushrooms. And I wouldn't be working with them even if he was working with a company that didn't work with full spectrum, because the value is in the quality and in what the full mushroom offers, the intelligence of the mushroom, and the whole experience of that. And that's why not only am I offering the product to support people in their health, and that's been my world. My whole life has been about supporting people in their bodies. But we also have an emotional and a mental and a spiritual body too. And so with the product, and I created this whole online experience to go with it, which basically is called the Liquid Aura Portal. And in that portal, it's called the lab. So the lap of your higher self, the laps you do on a daily basis in your own evolution. And in that, I share a bit of the wisdom about mushrooms so that you can learn a little bit more. I also share a little bit about that we're also an energy body. We're not just a physical body, that we're always broadcasting a frequency, an energy. And so I know that you know about that and have shared and talked much about that. And so it gives a little bit more about that. And then I share these meditations, these short, and it's all about tapping into something easy, something quick, something short that you can start on a daily basis to just tap into the intelligence of the mushrooms and what they do for us, but also adding this other element with it. So with the Liquid Aura Portal, that is a free experience with every product. And so I figured, if I'm going to support some change in the world, really the change starts here. The change always starts within. And so if we all can make some small changes or big changes, what's going to happen in the world, right? And so Liquid Aura Portal, or it's Liquid Aura, is the experience with the products and to really up-level our health, but it's also to up-level our own experience in life and the way that we relate to nature, the way we relate to ourselves, the way that we relate to each other. And I think that's really essential.
Yes.
And what's been your, experience with mushrooms, right? To get you to this place where we're enrolled in creating this, let's call it like a change agent.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What were some of the experiences that you've had in your life using this product or products like it?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Well, being a health expert for so long and using functional mushrooms for 15 years, I used them as a woman, really fascinating to be able to use them cyclically throughout my cycle at different times. Some of them are a little bit more restorative. Some of them are a little bit more detoxifying. They're all really amazing for the immune system. Some of them are a little bit more support for the immune system. So sometimes at certain times, if I'm feeling a little run down, I'll tap into certain ones. I've been using our focused fuel every morning and lion's mane every single day, especially in the last couple of years. And I have to say, like, for those of you who are struggling with brain fog, perimenopause, menopause, men struggle with, brain fog, all of the adrenal exhaustion. A lot of people are really feeling the effects of living in a very active world and high,
played an extensive amount
really
of contact sports. A few concussions over the years.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so just personally having used them in so many different ways, just really recognizing that it's an easy way in. And one of the things I'll say also about the full spectrum mushroom, and I'm grateful to Mudwater because they're more well known out there that they're bringing kind of that full spectrum out. One of the things that is great about the full spectrum is that it's a prebiotic fiber. So what I mean by that, there's a little bit of a muddiness to it. There's a little bit, it doesn't completely dissolve. Like some of these extracts, they can do all these gummies, they can do all these great things, which is wonderful. You're still getting some benefit. Yeah. But with these full spectrum mushrooms, they do have a texture to them, but recognizing that by consuming that, I am feeding my gut biota. I am fueling my body. I'm feeding my gut. And that is so essential because everything stems from the gut. And we know that stress, everything also is affected by stress, but stress affects the gut. We get leaky gut because of stress. Yeah. And so when we can feed our guts healthy food and especially mushrooms, right? That's going to support that. So it's just a win-win in so many different levels. Yeah. Yeah.
I have to say, because I've used your products. I'm still using your products. And it makes a difference when I'm consistent, when I need it, depending, like you said, on the cycle, what I'm feeling, what I'm needing. In perimenopause, things change quite quickly. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, but a little bit of, that liquid, like amazingness. And there is a consistency to it.
Yes.
But I mean, really, like once you connect that and that, which I know it's a podcast, so the mind and the gut,
the mind,
all the things, we are able to heal and support ourselves with nature, right? And it's kind of the same, not only the functional mushrooms, but I did the research on the organs, the cow organs in powder, and how that supports during perimenopause, right? So the nutrients. I mean, I had my placenta flash frozen, and I've had them in pill forms. When I first heard about it, I was like, oh, but this was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's something to it.
There is.
Why do mothers eat their own animals? There's so much nutrients and we just throw it all away. I mean, coming from Poland, a lot of people give me flack because, I eat the chicken feet and, the grizzle and all that stuff, but that's where the collagen lives. I don't have to buy a powder. That's why you look like
you're 20.
Same
as Katharina.
Oh, thanks. It's the lighting. But it is. It's it's in nature and we throw it all away and then we go to the store and we pay for it, but it's not real. It's synthetic.
It's grown in labs.
It's grown in labs where it is so readily available, even in our backyard with the dandelions. But we're not taught that.
Exactly.
We're just taught to easy. Oh, this is the easy button.
Right. Exactly. So
and
it's not that buying your product is hard, because you do all of the preparation and really all somebody really needs to do is either mix it or just consume it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And based on all the things you're talking about, in a world where it's all about consumption, and because of that, things are so mass produced and quality is not necessarily the first kind of priority or maybe core value with some of the companies that are processing the food that we consume. It behooves us to go out and find these alternative, supplements and sources that actually feed our body, feed our mind, right? To give us nutrients and all these other things that, the two of you have been talking about that just only do good for us, right? Only do good for us.
Exactly. They're our allies.
They are, definitely. So tell us a little bit, because I know you also do journeys with psilocybin.
Yes.
And we are just entering into that world because we have the functional mushrooms, which are amazing. And also the psilocybin is something that taps into a completely different part of us.
Yes.
Something that awakens us from within and gives us a different world and view and a perspective of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So psilocybin, and actually why I created the reperspective meditations for the functional mushrooms, is to really give that piece that they don't get because they don't have the psilocybin in them, is to really access that part within us to have a different perspective. And that's really what psilocybin does. Psilocybin offers other perspectives for us to look at the things that we're struggling with. They're often a story that we're telling ourselves, the story that, and hey, I'm going to acknowledge that, many people, all of us go through trauma and go through very difficult times, and to visit that, to heal that, mushrooms and psilocybin mushrooms are really profound for that, because their nature, they really will guide us if we let ourselves be guided, right? And so oftentimes the resistance that we feel, whether it's the fear of even trying it to begin with, or to recognize that the need for control is part of the problem too. And so
that was me. She's talking about me. That was my big awakening. Let go of control, Bella. Literally. And then I saw it. I didn't see it. And then once the journey was over, and then you integrate, and then the work begins. It's not like you do your journey and then you're like, done, yes, I'm awake. No, then it opens up the different parts in your world that's like, where's the control? Hey, the dishwasher's not loaded the way, but guess what? Somebody else loaded it. I'm not going to unload it either.
Right.
So let that go, right? Like, I don't need to be in full control of everything.
I think another way to look at what the value of psilocybin is, and again, Mycelium does not produce anything psilocybin, and we are not affiliated with it whatsoever. However, psilocybin it's a teacher plant, and they've used it for eons, particularly with shamanic, with teachers. The gist is it's the mirror that shows you the things about yourself that you don't necessarily want to see. The things that we lie to ourselves every day, and we have this image of what we project out as to who we are and what we're doing. But for some reason, if we're stuck and we keep banging our head, it's because we haven't looked at the things that are preventing us from seeing what we really need to see about ourselves to go into the world in a different way that keeps us from doing that. And I refer to it as periscope up. Like where there's so much noise in all of the world and what we're living in. And if I'm ever historically, when I first started sort of working with psilocybin mushrooms was a quarter of a century ago. It was at the turn of the century. But it was, I found that if I'm ever stuck in a place in life and I can't figure out, what's holding me back. I'm trying to get there. What's happening? And then with an appropriate dose, all of a sudden I'm able to kind of look up above the clouds and then I can see, oh, wait a second, this is what's holding me back. I'm trying to get over there. But to get there, I got to do this and then this and then this and then this and this. And then I'm back to here. It's like, oh, that's easy. What else am I trying to do? I'm trying to do that. And then it's a way for me personally to really streamline my life, get myself out of the way and be able to get to the end of where I'm trying to be from where I'm at now. This is more of a sort of this is more of I guess a logistical or sort of a life purpose direction kind of methodology. But at the same time, there's many times when I'm feeling stuck, and then it's, I'll have a journey and I'll realize, oh, wait a sec, these are some things I really need to look at. And oftentimes it's the same thing, but it's the mirror that really says, well, this is how you're showing up in life, David. And this is what you're getting as a result, go figure. You've seen this before. I was like, okay, you're right. But and it's just a matter of getting myself out of my own way. So
what stands in the way becomes the way.
Right? Totally.
Yeah, so.
And it's hard because psilocybin has been used for, good time. Let's see the visuals. But when you set the intention to, or have somebody guide you, and get clear, like what is your intention? It's a completely different experience. Yeah. And like you said, it's the teacher. Yeah. Right? So then it's showing you what it is that you need to look at versus, oh, I'm just having a party.
Exactly.
Right? So there is that. There, yes, you can have the visuals, but when I did mine, we blindfolded me and I went inward versus out here, because we live out here all the time, and that's where we can't see, because like you said, David, there's so much noise around us. Sometimes we need to close our eyes and go inwards to actually see, and it's hard. Sometimes when you go looking for those answers, you might not like what you see in the mirror, but that's where the work is.
And that's where the reward is too.
100%. Because once you get onto like over the hump and on the other side, our breakthrough, big time, right? We started the meditation. We started taking functional mushrooms. I did that journey. It's just when you tap into nature, like going back to nature, right? Meditation, breath work, mushrooms, whatever, dandelions, all the things, you really start being so aware of all the noise that is blocking you.
So true.
Right? Yeah. It is, because then you tap in to, I always say, the universe. And the universe, we're all connected. We're all connected energetically. What you put out is what you get in. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Being curious about what you don't know, or even deeper, what you don't know you don't even know. Yeah. Right? And that,
no idea what you're talking.
And just being open to that perspective, right? And I think that one of the things that's important, like the other part of the equation, when you would talk to me about your experience, one part psilocybin, but also another part your guide. Right. And so I think that's an important part for anybody who is thinking about or considering, exploring one of these types of journeys is to do your homework and find yourself a good guide, right?
Absolutely.
That knows what they're doing, that, can make sure that you're in a safe space and that they can actually guide you from the outside while you go in through this internal journey.
Yeah.
An essential part of that I think is just a really simple fundamental part. And this is something you always hear people always say about the set and the setting. What is your mindset? What is the setting that you're in? But as you embark upon the journey, and particularly those who struggle with control, quite naturally the instant thought of when you have a sense that when maybe suddenly sound just goes, it's like time slows down. All of a sudden, you've got a heightened awareness. The people who have a challenge with control go, oh no, they're here. And then at that point, that's when people hear about, oh, they have a bad trip. It's an amplifier, in my opinion. Whereas when the awareness that the journey is about to embark and that it is happening and that you're listening to music and all of a sudden you can hear it super clear, or if you've got your eyes out and all of a sudden you're able to see colors and brightness that you wouldn't normally recognize. It's amazing how acute your vision can get. But at that point to go, awesome, they're here. And then it's that total deflection point or inflection point where if it comes like, oh no, a fear, a control, then that can take you to places that they're going to show you the things you probably really don't want to see. Oftentimes you need to see them. But the other notion is to when they come, and I speak them as if they're an ethereal or an otherworldly thing, but I truly believe they are. It's a sentient being as far as I'm concerned. It just doesn't have a form that we recognize. The essence is to really recognize and welcome. And a welcoming state, then the journey is going to be much more enjoyable. And it's like they talk about Mother Ayahuasca, which is another experience. Mother Ayahuasca is either going to coddle you like a baby, or she's going to spank you and show you the things. It's very similar. They're teacher plants for a reason, and how you enter into that inflection point can be the real determining factor of how that experience is going to go.
Yeah. And for me, because you were there, guiding, and at one point I was going down a dark place and, I pop up I'm like, what's my intention? And you were right there, clarity. What did I say? Clarity and something else.
Well, I know
freedom.
Yes.
Clarity and freedom. And what I thought freedom was not what it showed me. Right? The freedom to choose. Yeah. I choose who I want to be versus having,
to
the
live
freedom
up to some expectation that was never you to begin with.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? So mind blowing.
Yes.
It's completely changed and shifted how I see and operate in the world. But yeah, it's the guide. And I remember your words, it's a teacher.
Yes.
If you feel like there is some sort of a uncomfortable sensation within your body, that's where you need to tune in and ask the question.
Get curious instead of get scared.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then that's when it's open. Like it opens up.
Yeah.
I did I think I shared with you when I went to Tulum and I led a workshop there for a women's retreat. We did the holotropic breathing and I ended up feeling like there's choking. I was touching the universe and then the universe reflected and I felt this choking sensation. And I remember your words. It's not the choking, it's bringing awareness. And then when I started to listen and become aware of what the message was, it was like, Bella, you're still not saying the things you really want in life. So then I'm like, okay, I'll say it. And I start saying them in my head. And they're like, no, you got to speak it out loud. You need to hear yourself and you need others to hear. So here we are doing this breath work. And I'm saying the things. My girlfriend's looking at me like, what is going on in there? But I'm just saying. And every time I said the things I haven't said yet, that choky feeling started letting go. And by the time I was done saying all the things I haven't said yet, I was totally fine. I'm like, thank you.
Yes,
right? But you have to be open.
And that medicine lives in you and it will reveal itself to you at times when you fall back.
Yeah.
And really getting clear on your intention is part of it, but also understanding what your limiting beliefs are to begin with.
Yeah.
And so taking somebody through a journey, and as a guide, it's very important to help to get clear on that and help them to discover what those limiting beliefs are and to anchor to that preferred reality. So then when they go into the journey, they have the anchor already.
Mm-hmm.
And that anchor is what's going to bring you through the challenges when you're meeting the former part of you or the parts of you that are afraid to die, but those parts have to die
Mm-hmm.
in order for that new expression to come through. And then the integration is so important, that it's not about just the trip and you're going to get something from that, but like, how am I going to live that in my life? How am I going to meet that in my life? And so giving those tools and giving that practice and then following up to see, well, where am I now and what needs to evolve from that as well? And so it's why I actually only do one-on-one guidance, because I honestly don't, having a group experience, the benefit of that is that you can learn from each other. There's always a benefit in a group environment where there's something to always learn from other people's experiences. And it can also be distracting. And so as a guide, I want to put all my attention on that one person and just really hold that space.
And I keep thanking you because she was my little mouse. Anytime I need her, I'm like, are you there? Because I experienced that loneliness part, right? That showed how lonely I have been for so many years, even through childhood, only child, constantly moving, that loneliness part. And just reaching out, I'm like, are you there? And you were always there and you grabbed my hand. And it was like that moment that solidified that I'm like, I'm never alone. I just need to reach out to, get that. But I have to ask for it, because we're strong, independent women, rah, rah, rah. We don't need nobody. No, we do. We need each other.
1,000%.
Right? And that woman aspect of it, we are so pitted against each other. We have to be the best and compete. No, I think there is so much beauty in the collective, in that tribe, in that chanting and that help. It takes a village, right? We've lost our village. We've lost our village somewhere along the way.
Yes.
Right? But now it's like, okay, no, I have my village. He's my little mouse, my little kitty cat. I just love you. Thank you so much for, honestly, starting my heartbeat, because I was dead inside, to opening up that world and, that space and guiding me through the most beautiful journey. I haven't had a journey since then, but I didn't integration is key.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Integration.
Yeah.
And when I'm still learning and I'm still processing and I'm still seeing things, I'm not ready yet to explore something else because I'm still
getting
doing
the
the work. Right? Yeah.
I agree. It's like I did an ayahuasca journey back in 2007, and I was scheduled to do. Sometimes they do them 3 times in that week, and it was my very first one. I hadn't done anything psychedelic, or mind altering, state shifting in that way. Alcohol was the only thing, and tried a couple things when I was younger and hated it, and so. Having that experience and allowing myself to let go and recognize that part of control and just letting go, I got so much out of that journey that I didn't want to do one 2 days later. And I haven't done one since because I'm still getting the gifts.
Yeah.
I'm still living the gifts of that. And where with psilocybin, I've done several of them and I still prefer to be led as well, or somebody to hold some space there. And really, because of my relationship with mushrooms and I'm a steward of mushrooms, I feel like they are welcoming them into their tribe. And so I felt like the last time I kept saying over and over and over again, I kept saying, take all of me, take all of me, take all of me so I can be all of me, take all of me so I can be all of me. I think I said it probably for hours. And it just that complete surrender. Yeah. And so that I can live my gifts in the world and that I can let that channel be open.
Yeah. And I
love it.
I think it also, because we're a couple that works together, you guys work together, it does change the relationship. Can you speak a little bit to that? On how, being more aware, looking in the mirror, how has, psilocybin and mushrooms and all that kind of stuff helped you guys in your relationship to get you through challenges in life?
Well, I guess beyond the mushrooms, we've done a lot of personal work ourselves, and actually we met through a group called Warrior Sage. It was a personal development group that really gave the ability to have the sage-like wisdom to, I guess, to be wise in how we approach the world, the words that we choose, the ability to communicate in the same way, but then the warrior spirit to actually execute it and do that. So coming from that as our original sort of base and how we actually met, I think has been amplified, because that's how I see mushrooms, has been amplified through our journeys through life, and periodically with our own individual mushroom journeys, and just regularly functional as well, because something is interesting about mushrooms in general is they all stack so well. Like taking one individually, whether it's turkey tail, whether it's chaga, whether it's cordyceps, whether it's lion's mane, has its benefits. But when you stack them all together, they collectively have a whole different effect. And it's interesting we haven't touched anything about lion's mane and psilocybin, because that's been demonstrated to promote neurogenesis, which is regeneration of neurons. Maybe we'll circle back on that one later. But particularly for me with mushrooms, it's I will periodically have a journey, some larger, some smaller, but for me, it allows me to show up in relationship in a way that is more authentic and more present, because I'm less in mental. I'm an engineer. I'm an artist by trade. Sorry, I'm an engineer by trade, but an artist at heart. So my artist comes up with his harebrained ideas. My engineering side is always figuring them all out, trying to solve everything, fix everything. So I'm running around in my head all the time. But when I have a psilocybin journey, it allows me more connected with sort of my heart, my essence, and my ability to really look at myself objectively and go, okay, David, enough of that. It allows me to kind of be more of me, I suppose, and less of my head, which therefore allows me to show up more present in relationship. Is that a good?
Well, yeah, right. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I feel that the other piece to that is that my experience with mushrooms has helped me to understand more about not only who I am, but what I am. And that what I am is connected to the allness, but it's also the essence of Katharina. And so the essence of Katharina is the recognition, it's the reverence for recognizing that no one has, no one is, no one ever gets to be me. And so often we're comparing ourselves with everybody else. We're trying to be somebody else. We're trying to be anything but ourselves. And so the more that I got curious, and the more that I started to find the wonderment and awe of the what I am, but also the Katharina, the more that I understood how I was wired, the more that I started to get curious, and especially with people that are in your life, that are significant in your life, as I started to get more curious about my partner, I started to get curious about how David was wired and what makes him tick and how he views the world and his perspective, and jumping into that space.
What an entertaining game that is.
Oh my gosh. That's true.
Well, that's so interesting. Like when you talk about like the what you are, right? Because really, when you think about the who I am, it's all it's all made up, right? Like who is a deer, right? Who is Jinx, our dog? Like as far as personality goes, a lot of it is just this kind of manufactured sense of identity, right? That we're either embracing or resisting, that then, ends up manifesting and projecting out into the world in a bunch of different experiences that people have of us, right? And then we reflect back on those and wondering, did people experience us the way that we wanted to experience, to make sure that the who I am that I want people to see was actually what they saw. Right. But again, who am I? Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because from the time we were born, we're given names, and that's who I am. I'm Bella. You're Lee, Katharina and David. you're already like named something. You are that, right? And then there's the language that comes into it. Oh, you're funny. Oh, you're smart. Oh, you're meticulous. Oh, you're crazy. So then you take that on, and then you're either, yes, I am funny, or I'm not funny, and you're fighting that. But we're never given that opportunity to truly figure out who we are and what we want, because we are guided by our parents, our friends, our teachers,
our
Society.
society,
Yeah.
right? To be like, who am I? Who am I told to be? You are this, but am I? How do I see when do I get an opportunity to truly sit with myself and be like, actually, what do I want? What is it that makes me tick? What makes me happy? What makes me fulfilled? Why am I feeling this emptiness? Because I am all these things people say, and I'm great, but I'm still feeling empty inside because I'm not truly living into who I am.
Yeah.
Right.
Or who it is that you want to be.
Yes.
Right.
It's like that when I was struggling with, I'm this entrepreneur, businesswoman, acquisitions and sales, like raw, strong, independent. And then there's that part of me, the witchy part. Well, how do I marry the two? Because if I'm this, and this is what the world sees me, I cannot be that, because that goes against what society says what a strong, independent, businesswoman is. But once I let go of that, like that, and I merge the two, I can be anything I damn want.
Absolutely.
And I am. I can be the witch. I'm going to do my thing, and I can freaking run business like there's no tomorrow.
Right. The many expressions.
Yes.
Yeah.
The power of
we don't have to limit ourselves to being this one way in this certain, right? It's like, and get crazy.
Yeah.
Like let yourself, get a little weird.
Yeah.
but that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Right? When, our minds have been conditioned to be in a socialized reactive mindset where we need to fit in, and if we don't fit in, then bad things are going to happen to us. And so when we live in that mindset, it's hard.
It is.
Right? To kind of play the game and at the level that you're being called to. Right? Because we all have dreams. Right. And usually those dreams at some point scare us because it means that we need to become somebody that not only are we not sure if we could do it. Right. So there's that sense of failure. But then what does it mean as far as like what my friends will think, what my family think, and all that? So then we dream a little smaller.
And sometimes it's the fear of the success too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Depend on what your belief system is, right? Because you could have a belief that, I can't, be successful because if I am, I won't be lovable or whatever it might be. And so that could cause you to start, self-sabotage and whatever. And so I think that in the way of being able to transition from like a socialized reactive mind into a creative and then into an integral mindset, I mean, the mushrooms are a tool, right? To be able to help you along that pathway, whether it is through a functional, right, mushroom process, right? Or, something that's, like psilocybin or both, right? I think, this has definitely opened up my mind, right? My perspective on, how mushrooms is really, like a tool, right? To really help you achieve your goals, right? If
a teacher, a mind opener, just a mirror, all of the things.
Yeah. The biggest trick is intention.
Yes.
It's always comes down to intention. Use it as a tool to teach your plants. I could go on and on about it, but it's amazing how we're only starting to understand what the actual active compounds are in so many things. We've whether it's regular biologic foods, or if it's the functional mushrooms that we know have function in our body, we don't know exactly which parts are doing it.
Yeah.
You hear a lot about extracts versus, the fruiting body versus a full spectrum. So, well, if you're getting an extract, you're extracting certain compounds, but what if you're not extracting the good ones?
Yeah.
Maybe these are a couple of ones, but they have to actually work in conjunction with these other things that we don't know were there. That's the interesting thing about, I mentioned it before, is lion's mane and psilocybin.
Yeah.
Is that, University of Saskatchewan, UBC right now, there's been a ton of study on it, that if you have got 10 milligrams, which equates to 10 milligrams of psilocybin, which is 10 micrograms of psilocin, that's the actual active in the psilocybin, combined with about 100 milligrams of lion's mane, is, promotes neurogenesis. Well, I don't know if you know, but you're only born with so many neurons in your brain. If you get a head injury and you impact them, well, sorry, that wing of the mansion is closed. It's the same with your heart. You're born with a certain number of cells in your heart that keeps pumping all of your life. It's not like your skin that sloughs off, or your red blood cells, or other things that constantly regenerate. You've got one heart and you've got a certain number of cells that make that up. Same with your brain and neurons. So this is the only thing that's been demonstrated to be able to promote neurogenesis, which is the regeneration of the neurons and the connections between them, and particularly the people who have had head injuries, or whether it's, I guess in many cases, like a PTSD, where the programming in your brain gets remapped because you've had this traumatic incident. That's why they're using it so much for veterans and people who've had these incredible experiences that, it's a fight or flight or an action response. Like you trigger this thing and all of a sudden your brain goes, boop, we're doing this. But if you can actually regenerate a neural pathway that, instead of having the stimulus and a response, you get a stimulus, either you can process it or you can remap it to a different response. It's pretty incredible. The trick with that is less is more, though. When people talk about a microdose, it's like, it's funny. I just took 100 milligrams. Like, that's not a microdose. That's a mini dose. A microdose you should never actually ever feel. We're talking 10 milligrams. Like you'll never know what's there. But the science is there, and it is coming more and more and more. And it's just a matter of time before it gets recognized. But the biggest challenge is that people can grow mushrooms in your backyard.
Yeah.
People, there's no way to monetize things like that. And it's the pharmaceutical industry that's created these NPNs, that basically it's a natural product number, that if anybody right now in Canada wants to have a natural product that they're promoting that can help the body and the physiology in different ways, it has to go through, quote unquote, a scientific rigor and these double-blind studies that's to a pharmaceutical grade, that basically they're pricing people out of the market, because the only people who compete are the pharmaceuticals that sponsor all of the universities, that sponsor the wards where the doctors are trained to not treat a symptom, they're trained to prescribe a chemical. Because their company says this is what is supposed to be done. But as we get more and more back to the nature of it all, and realize that these compounds are all around us, and the nature is our pharmacy, if we know how and what. And where do you think they came from? They just synthesized these compounds that used to be in a bark, or still is in a bark. That's where ibuprofen came from. It's a compound that's in a tree bark that they went, we can synthesize this and we can make this very specific compound, and we can sell it in this little tablet that's very easy to take. So anyways, follow the money. I know I went off on a little bit of a rant there, but that's basically what it comes down to.
No, but it's true, right? Like, we need to wake up, right?
Yes.
We do need to start taking matters into our hands, because we can no longer trust that these big companies are there to help us and benefit us. They're there to benefit themselves. Right? What may have started as a, way of helping humanity, now it's lining our pockets. Not our pockets, because I'm not in pharmaceuticals, but someone else's pockets, at the expense of our health. Right? At the expense of us.
So you make more money if you keep people sick. You just keep dealing with the symptoms. I think everybody should watch the documentary called The Corporation, and they talk about the corporation has become a legal entity, technically an actual legal individual, an individual that's able to own property and to have rights and to have these things that was only ever bestowed upon individuals, like living, breathing individuals. But if the World Health Organization or which I don't always love, but if they've got the stipulation of what defines a psychopath, if you go through those 12 steps, it checks off every single one of them. It's profit above community. It's is disregard, for the environment or the nature around them, at the sake of profit, is to produce the most return on investment for the people who have invested the money, and it's at the sake of everything else. And that's fundamentally what it is. But quarter after quarter, you have to show an increase.
Yeah.
If you don't show an increase, people lose faith. The company goes down and it dies. So what are they going to do? They need to make sure they show it one way or another.
Yeah.
And it's follow the money.
That's right.
Yeah.
And another great movie to watch would be Fantastic Fungi.
Oh, it's fantastic.
If you want to learn a little bit more about the magic of all mushrooms, and it's a great movie to describe that. And of course, the Liquid Aura portal.
That's
well,
right.
And I was just going to say, and where can people find both of you, right? Whether it's they want to learn just more about this topic, they want to purchase your product, I
highly recommend this. This is not a paid for ad, FYI. I do not, what's the word?
Condone.
Advertise things that, I don't believe in. I don't speak because I get paid for it. I speak because I believe in it. So Liquid Aura, the functional mushroom, this woman, this man, they're the bomb.
Thank you. Yeah. So drinkliquidaura.com is my Shopify website if you want to order functional mushrooms. And you can also reach out to me you can just send a message to me. I do have a site as well for Sacred Chrysalis Journey. I am also in the process of changing that. So that's why I'm hesitating a little bit as far as the actual site goes. But yeah, reach out to me on social media, Katharina Kunz, and also Drink Liquid Aura is on social media. I just put it up like a month ago. So the more likes and follows, I'm also going to do some giveaways as well. So if you want to be a part of that. And great for if people want a couple's journey.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing all your knowledge and wisdom. And yeah, you're just awesomeness.
Awesome sauce.
There was no sugarcoating it.
There was no sugarcoating.
Till next time.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights to elevate your life and business.
If you found value in our conversation, spread the love. Share this episode with family and friends, and let's grow this supportive community together.
And don't forget to like and follow us so we can reach more amazing people just like you.
Until next time, remember, let's not sugarcoat it. Keep it real, raw, and unfiltered.